Throughout the 250 years of the Navy, over 3 million Americans have served in the Navy. Many successful missions led to an unaccountable amount of amazing and funny experiences that have been shared. One of the former Navy sailors that shared these countless experiences was Master Chief Neal Galbraith. Mr. Galbraith enlisted in the Navy and served for about 23 years, serving on the USS Haler, USS Scott, USS Wainwright, and the USS Vela Gulf. Born on June 9, 1954, in Lebanon, Pennsylvania, to Ken and LaRue Galbraith, Mr. Neal Galbraith had two sisters named Suzanne and Nancy Galbraith. During his younger years, he was an Eagle Scout and worked at Coleman's Park and Camp Nokoa in Arnottsville. After graduating from high school, instead of going to college like some of his peers, he enlisted in the Navy. His family was a little scared of him going into the service because his cousins disliked it. After enlisting in the Navy, he went to basic training in Great Lakes, Illinois. After a funny experience between him and the chief there, Mr. Galbraith told us the story.
Well, what are you doing here? I said, well, I'm supposed to go to San Diego today. They said, well, nobody's going to San Diego today. You can go to Orlando or you can go to Great Lakes today, or you can come back tomorrow and go to San Diego. And I said, I'll just go to Great Lakes today. So, but it was 8 weeks.
Through his experience in basic training, he learned all about basic Navy history, knots, firefighting, damage control, and line handling. Basic also helped him get in shape with a lot of physical training. After his time at basic training, he went to Combat Systems Technical School on Mare Island. He went to Mare Island to become a data display tech. Mr. Galbraith's first assignment after basic training was on the USS Wainwright. He liked doing his job the most, but also helped as a line handler on the Wainwright. He went to the International Naval Review on July 4, 1976. The International Naval Review was a showcase of different U.S. ships to celebrate the 200th anniversary of the United States Navy. He was later deployed in the Suez Canal, Persian Gulf, and Indian Ocean on the USS Haler before the Iranian War and Operation Desert Storm. After serving on the Haler, he later did drug patrols in the Caribbean and Gulf of Mexico. In his later years in the service, Mr. Galbraith attended the Senior Enlisted Academy, where he learned a lot about what being a leader is and how to teach people. He said,
I'm glad I had some of the experience behind me that I had, having been an instructor at one time. I had been through instructor school back after my first ship, and so I knew how to put things together and how to do my research and that sort of thing. And that's what the Senior Enlisted Academy was.
He learned a lot of advanced things that a lot of enlisted sailors did not get to learn.
It was always you were fixing something, or you were doing preventive maintenance, or you were cleaning your workspace. Because that was always a big thing too, cleanliness. You gotta maintain that out there because it's a closed environment and people get sick.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Galbraith expressed that in the Navy there really isn't a regular day. He said, cleanliness was a big part of his experience in the Navy to protect himself and his comrades. He didn't complain about the food because they ate good. He stated that if the food is bad, people complain and the morale goes down. So the Navy made it a big emphasis to have decent food. Mr. Galbraith also created a lot of friendships throughout his time in the service, and tells me he still likes to keep in touch with them as much as he can. He said,
Wow. Well, I'm still in contact with a couple of guys from my first ship, one in Texas, one in Florida, one in Ohio, and my first chief who lives in San Diego. I'm um, in contact with them, not on a regular basis, but we're still in contact uh, through Facebook and emails and that sort of thing from time to time.
Mr. Galbraith's final position was the Command Master Chief. Throughout his time being Command Master Chief, he said that some of his favorite things about the role was
Um, I got to help with training. Um, Maybe the disciplinary review board. Um, when somebody when a sailor did something wrong and they got written up for it, um, it started with me.
after the service, it took Mr. Galbraith a little bit of adjusting to get back to civilian life. He said,
Yeah, some things were difficult. Um, the well, the first thing you run into is you're getting up in the morning. You have to figure out what to put on.
Hmm.
You know, in the military, you know what the uniform of the day is, and that's what you put on when you get up in the morning. So, you can get up in the morning and put on jeans and a flannel shirt
Yeah.
and not have to worry about shining your shoes or any of that good stuff.
he didn't think he had it as tough as other guys readjusting to civilian life because he wasn't deployed in any combat zones, so he didn't have to see any of that action.
My boss, who was still the guy that hired me, um, gave me a file about this thick, and this was all the people that he interviewed for the job.
Oh my.
And there were a lot of guys with college education and one PhD and agronomics and this and that and the other thing. And I said, so how did I get the job? And he said, well, part of it was you're an Eagle Scout.
Mm-hmm.
And I know about scouting, and I actually had his son in my troop then for a while. He says, and you told me you're not afraid to make decisions, and you're not afraid to be held accountable for those decisions, right, wrong, or otherwise. He said, that worked for me. So, and I retired from there.
Throughout his time in the service, Mr. Galbraith learned all about duty, honor, commitment, and courage. He relates that to the Scout Law when he says,
Kind of, kind of like the, kind of like the points of the Scout Law. If you're, there's just certain things that you learn and they stick with you.
he wanted to make sure that future generations know.
Go serve your country. It's the best thing you'll ever do. Whether you do it for 3 years or you do it for 23 years like I did. It's best thing you'll ever do. I don't know what else to say. It's anybody that I will sit down with anybody that wants to, that's talking about service, and talk to them and tell them stuff I'm telling you. It's not easy every day, but it's when you look back, it's rewarding. It's the right thing it's just the right thing to do as far as I'm concerned. Somebody's got to do it. Not everybody needs to go to college. And the military the military will teach you trades too.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know anything about electronics when I went in, but I knew it when I got out.
Yeah.
Mr. Galbraith got to have a lot of great experiences throughout his time in the Navy, and he is happy he did it. He served on multiple different ships all over the world and advanced in his military career all the way up to Chief Petty Officer. Mr. Galbraith is a perfect example of what commitment and honor to America is all about. Thank you so much, Mr. Galbraith, for your dedication and service to the military.